Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, Chapter 8. The Lord slays the king of the demons, Text 41. Sri Rudra Uvacha. Kopakala Yagantaste. Hatoyam Asuropaka. Tatsutam Pahupasristam. Bhaktam te bhaktavatsala. Kopakala yugantaste. Hatoyam asuroplaka. Tatsutam pahyupasristam. Bhaktam te bhaktavatsala. Kopakalo yugantaste. Hatoyam asuropaka. Tatsutam pahyupasristam. Bhaktam te bhaktavatsala. Sri Rujuvacha. Lord Shiva offered his prayer. Kopakala, the right time for your anger, for the purpose of annihilating the universe. Yuga Anta, the end of the millennium. Te, by you. Hata, killed. Ayam, this. Asura, great demon. Alpaka, very insignificant. Tatsutam, his son, Prahlad Maharaj. Pahi, just protect. Upasristam, who is surrendered and standing nearby. Bhaktam, devotee. Te, of your lordship. Bhaktavatsala, O my Lord, who are so affectionate to your devotee. Translation. Lord Shiva said, the end of the millennium is the time for your anger. Now that this insignificant demon, Hiranyakashipu, has been killed, O my Lord, who are naturally affectionate to your devotee, kindly protect his son Prahlad Maharaj, who is standing nearby as your fully surrendered devotee. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the creator of the material world. There are three processes in creation, namely creation, maintenance, and finally, annihilation. During the period of annihilation, at the end of each millennium, the Lord becomes angry, and the part of anger is played by Lord Shiva, who is therefore called Rudra. When the Lord appeared in great anger to kill Hiranyakashipu, everyone was extremely afraid of the Lord's attitude. But Lord Shiva, knowing very well that the Lord's anger is also his Leela, was not afraid. Lord Shiva knew that he would have to play the part of anger for the Lord. Kala means Lord Shiva, Bhairava. And Kopa refers to the Lord's anger. These words, combined together as Kopakala, refer to the end of each millennium. Actually, the Lord is always affectionate toward his devotees, even though he may appear very angry, because he is Avyayatma, because he never falls down. Even when angry, the Lord is affectionate toward his devotees. Therefore, Lord Shiva reminded the Lord to act like an affectionate father toward Prahlad Maharaj, who was standing by the Lord's side as an exalted, fully surrendered devotee. Translation again. Lord Shiva said, "The end of the millennium is the time for your anger. Now that this insignificant demon, Hiranyakashipu, has been killed, O my Lord, who are naturally affectionate toward your devotee, kindly protect his son Prahlad Maharaj, who is standing nearby as your fully surrendered devotee." Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Sivasadi Go Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In this chapter, you are dealing with terror unprecedented. You're dealing with fear unprecedented. The chapter began with utter helplessness and paranoia. Try to appreciate the situation of Sandanamarka. They were like caught in such a terroristic totalitarian regime. They knew they have failed in properly educating Prahlad, although they tried their best. Everyone knows this part of the Leela. How Sandanamarka were deputed by Hiranyakashipu to properly condition Prahlad, properly socialize him. Try to put yourself in their place, the utter helplessness when they knew Hiranyakashipu was going to find out that Prahlad not only had not changed, but he's polluting all his schoolmates. Often in dramas that we make about Hiranyakashipu, Nrsimha Leela, it's humorous the way we present Sandanamarka as some kind of fuddling, clumsy teachers who just couldn't get it right. But today I'd like to ask you to look at Sandanamarka as we begin our examination of the fear and the terror and the anger. Consider their position. They were terrified. We're in a regime in which we could be rubbed out at any moment because we have failed to properly socialize someone. And indeed, what happened when they reported to Hiranyakashipu that against our best efforts, Prahlad not only has not changed his tune, but he's infecting all his schoolmates. What was Hiranyakashipu's reaction? We can study the anger that erupted. The Bhagavatam describes in a way that we can become so familiar with how anger distorts our existence. His whole body began to shake. He stared at Prahlad with crooked eyes. He couldn't even look with straight vision. He was like a snake that had been trampled upon by someone's foot. In utter rage, he decided to kill his son. How can you act like this? How can you do this to me? Hey, Kula Beta Mandatma. Durvinita Mandatma, Kula Beta Karadama. You are so low. You are so obstinate. You are so ignorant. You're slow to the utmost. And you are dragging down, disrupting the whole dynasty. Let's try to appreciate Hiranyakashipu's anger. Why? Because in our so-called civilization today, we have failed to understand how anger is the natural outcome of material desire. This is why, from so many points of view, you can understand there's no real human civilization today. Human civilization begins with understanding the basic lesson that Krishna gives in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, that when there is lust, there must be the havoc caused by anger. This is a point I've been meditating on recently. If you can understand this fundamental concept, you'll be saved from thinking you live in a progressive, advanced society. Because the reality is, at any moment, complete destruction can break out. But we don't see that, and we don't mind it because we see opportunity, we think, for fulfilling material desire. And to us, Hiranyakashipu looks like a complete aberration, a complete strange entity in a class by himself. But his anger is the logical and natural outcome of material desire. Prahlad, you're violating my power to rule you. You're not conforming to my program. Kimbala, where do you get your strength from? What have you tapped into? Of course, Hiranyakashipu would never accept that there is someone superior to him and that Prahlad Maharaj is getting his strength from some ultimate source. This is why Hiranyakashipu angrily struck the pillar. How dare someone suggest that something exists beyond the range of my senses? The more you study this Leela, the more you can understand our precarious situation in the world today. I've explained before in Ujjain, you're living in a so-called progressive world in which the predominant idea of the most developed nations is that the more terrible the nuclear weapons we have, the more the chances we won't use them. So we go on making the nuclear weapons and biological weapons, chemical warfare, make it more terrible, and because it's so terrible, that's the guarantee. We won't use them. It's brilliant, isn't it? This is the nuclear policy of the USA, Russia, UK, and we accept that as, it's all part of progress. We fail to see the connection. And I've been emphasizing this point. Forgive me, those who've heard it before. We fail to see the connection between material desire and destructive havoc. We think material desire is so innocent. This is why and how we've been brainwashed by materialistic propaganda. Over here you have material desire. Everyone has it, there's no problem, Then way over here we have anger and destruction, you see? And there's practically no connection between the two. And so therefore, when havoc does break out, we're wondering, how did that happen? How can there be genocide? How can there be all kinds of horrific warfare? What has humanity come to? But if you study Nrsimha Leela, you can see the complete connection between material desire and anger. And of course, the anger in Nrsimha Leela, both by Hiranyakashipu and in another category, the anger by Lord Nrsingadev is unprecedented. There is fear. As Prabhupada points out in the purport, the demigods are fearful after seeing such a display of anger by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hiranyakashipu was also fearful just by the sound of Lord Nrsingadev appearing from the pillar. He couldn't find the source of the sound. He was afraid. What's even more striking is that Hiranyakashipu was afraid of Lord Nrsingadev's laughter. Therefore, he was fighting with his eyes closed because the laughter of Nrsingadev got to him, rattled his cage, so to speak, so much that he, a warrior, was moving his sword up and down with his eyes closed. He was afraid. So this Leela presents us with such fear and such anger. Rupa Goswami explains in his Laghu Bhagavatamrita that Lord Nrsingadev is one of the three most complete forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's one of the three forms that shows complete opulences. There's Lord Nrsingadev, who is present both in Vaikuntha and on Janaloka, the Bhagavatam tells us. Then, more charming in terms of attractiveness is Lord Ramchandra. And then the ultimate is Krishna, who is the reservoir of sweetness and charm. So you might say, Rupa Goswami points out, and Baladev Vidyabhushan helps in his commentary, you might say, all right, they're equal. Nrsingadev, Ramchandra, Krishna, those top three, they're all like candles with equal light. But Rupa Goswami wants to explain to you the super excellence of Krishna. And he does it by explaining the history of Jai, one half of the two who came from Vaikuntha and took the role of demons in 3 births. So how did he explain that? He shows that although Nrsingadev killed Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyakashipu did not attain liberation. Although Ramchandra killed Ravana, Ravana did not attain liberation. So what is this? Aren't they killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So Rupa Goswami explains that Hiranyakashipu, when he died, he didn't understand at all who Nrsingadev is. He thought Nrsingadev is a strange creature empowered by karma. He was so overwhelmed by anger and lack of understanding that when he died, killed by Nrsingadev, he did not attain liberation. Instead, he took birth in such opulence. Ravana had opulence envied by the demigods in the heavenly planets. Then what happened to Ravana when killed by Ramchandra? What was he thinking about? He was simply lusting after Sita. He thought, okay, we heard that Hiranyakashipu thought Nrsingadev is a creature empowered by karma. Ravana thought Ramchandra is a human being, step up, empowered by karma. But he couldn't really come to the conclusion that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead because his lust for Sita was so overwhelming him. His next birth, however, he appears as Shishupal. Jai appears as Shishupal. Rupa Goswami explains that Krishna demonstrates his super excellence because of his all-attractive holy name and his all-attractive form. When that sweetness of the name and the form enters the heart, that relieves you from material existence. So therefore, when Shishupal was killed by Krishna, his liberation was successful. Shishupal was conscious of Krishna in such intensity. He knew this Krishna, he's Vishnu, he's killed me in previous births. As the Bhagavatam describes, even before Shishupal could talk properly as a baby, he was blaspheming Krishna. But how was he blaspheming Krishna? He was chanting Krishna's names with complete hate. Not intimate names like Gopi Jana Vallabha, Kunja Bihari, but names like Lakshmisha, the master of Lakshmi, Pundarikaksha, the lotus-eyed Lord. He's chanting the holy name of Krishna in utter hate and contempt with full absorption. And he was always meditating on the form of Krishna. His consciousness was absorbed in that way. Therefore, when it's time for his execution by Krishna, when the Sudarshan chakra hurled by Krishna was approaching Shishupal to obliterate him, Rupa Goswami explains that by the brilliant light of the Sudarshan chakra, Shishupal could see clearly right before his death. This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So therefore, and I recommend you study Gopi Pranadana Prabhu's rendition of Lagu Bhagavatamrita. Therefore, Rupa Goswami there explains, this indicates the superlative nature of Krishna, even compared to Ramchandra and Nrsimha. Because, and there are always tiny footnotes, exceptions, but Baladev Vidyabhushan explains, generally, demons killed by others than Krishna himself, Swayam Bhagavan, do not attain liberation. But the special feature of Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan, is that when he kills a demon, the demon is liberated. This is the month of Kartik, and we're chanting Damodar Leela. And I've been speaking about how there is anger in that Leela. But that anger in the Leela, as demonstrated by Bal Gopal, is something infinitely sweet. The demigods are praying to Lord Nrsimhadev, please, this is not the time to continue your anger. Lord Shiva is the expert in destruction. He's saying, Kopakala, it's not the time. The time for this kind of anger is at the annihilation of the universe. Lord Brahma has already explained in his prayers, Dharanta Shakti, you have inconceivable potencies that have no end. There's no limit to what they can do. Lord Brahma is meditating, the Acharyas say, on the irony of the whole situation of Jai and Vijay, Lord Nrsimhadev, particularly killing Hiranyakashipu. Lord Brahma is thinking, how did this all start? First of all, Jai and Vijay, they're personal associates of the Lord in Vaikuntha. Then, inspired by the Lord, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, in that way, inspired by the Lord, they take birth as demons. In this case, Jai takes birth as Hiranyakashipu. Inspired by the Lord, the greatest devotee takes birth in this super demoniac family. Inspired by the Lord, Hiranyakashipu tries to kill his sublimely devoted son. And then, although that's inspired by the Lord himself protects the son of Hiranyakashipu from the father who tried to kill him, the very father who's inspired by the Lord. So this is why Brahma's saying, Dharanta Shakti. I can't figure this out. Baladev Vidyabhushan adds a very interesting point, that it's not so much that Jai and Vijay fell from Vaikuntha. It is their desire in the court, the royal court in Vaikuntha. They were hearing stories of the Lord fighting with demons. So they decided, this is something great. We haven't seen this in Vaikuntha. I wonder if we could be a part of this. So it was by their desire. This is why Lord Brahma is pointing out, Dharanta Shakti. I can't figure this out. And of course, so many of us have been trying to figure out for decades. Jai, Vijay, fall, not fall from Vaikuntha, not fall from Vaikuntha. Well, Brahma himself is trying to figure it out. I can't get to the end of this. He becomes a demon. The greatest devotee is born in his family. Inspired by the Lord, he tries to kill his son. And then the Lord himself, who inspired him to try to kill the son, protects the son, and then kills the demon. This is too much for me. In Damodar Lila, you have another kind of anger. Iti drik salila bir ananda kunde. You're talking about the Ananda Kund, the pool of liquid rasa. Sanatana Goswami says liquid bliss mellows. We can't conceive of that in material existence. We're so attached to material desire, which results in anger and destruction. And when that anger and destruction happens, we're wondering what's going on. Just like people today throughout the world are taking more and more shelter of the bodily conception of life. What's my ethnicity? What's my gender? My ethnicity, my gender should be focused on and acknowledged, not only acknowledged, but emphasized. And in that way, there'll be human peace and progress. It's true that the bodily conception of life gives you a false sense of cohesiveness, a false sense of security. Just like material desire promises you a false sense of peace. Bhagavatam will educate us about this illusion. If I would just gratify my senses materially, get it over with, there would be peace. This is the promise that the illusory energy is always making to us. Promissory happiness. All you have to do is do this and it'll be all right. Just as there's that false promise offered by material gratification, and that false promise has consumed the whole world. Similarly, there is the false promise, the false hope offered by the bodily conception of life. If we're going to be happy, if we're going to improve our social and economic situation, we need to emphasize our material identity more. You would think the world has gotten over this, but it's just getting worse. Why? Because people are jivas are dealing with the same old modes of material nature. So don't be fooled by all the trappings of progress, material advancement. It's the same old thing going on. We will take shelter of our material identity, and that will bring us the sense of self-worth that we're missing. What's my gender? What's my ethnicity? What's my skin color? What's my nationality? Again and again, you'll see human society deceived by this illusion, and you'll see the havoc resulting. Because by identifying with the body as the self, just as by identifying with material desires, anger always results. Because the desires can never be fulfilled, and the false identification will never bring about any beneficial situation, materially or spiritually. Yet, in Vrindavan, the bodily identification is for real. In Krishna's Leela, the bodily identifications are for real and so sweet. This is why Krishna has a family, because some devotees want to love him in that bodily identification way. But Krishna is his body, and his associates are eternally liberated. They don't have material bodies. So therefore, iti driksa lila bir, ananda kunde. In that pool of liquid rasa, Krishna is drowning his personal associates in his special place, Vrindavan. Swagosham namajantam akyapayantam. His own special place, shining and resplendent. He's going to demonstrate tadyeshi tagyeshu bhaktarji tattvam. All you devotees who know I'm God and are attached to Aishvarya Gyan. All you devotees who are attracted by majesty, awe, and reverence. And Prahlad Maharaj certainly knew that Lord Nrsingadeva is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As dear a devotee as Prahlad is to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, still, the residents of Vrindavan are in a class by themselves. Mother Yashoda didn't care to know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That wasn't even on her mind in the slightest. Just focus on her attempts to bind Krishna. Rope after rope after rope. You know what happened. But yet we can never get to the end of this meditation. Every rope, 2 fingers too short. But she was so stubborn as a result of her Vatsalya Prem. She wasn't going to give up. She told the other elder ladies of Vrindavan, I don't care if I have to stay here all day getting rope after rope after rope. I'm going to bind this child. This is pure stubbornness as a result of pure love of Krishna. She's trying to bind someone who has no inside or outside, no interior, no exterior. She's trying to bind someone who has no beginning or end. She's trying to bind someone who has nothing to do with time or space. She's not thinking Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She's thinking, he's so restless, he may run out into the forest and get into more trouble with his friends. I have to bind him. First of all, to show him proper discipline, and secondly, to protect him. This bottomless, endless desire to protect Krishna. Puna prematastam shatavritti vande. The Damodarastic is glorifying that Damodar Leela because Krishna becomes conquered by his devotee. He's more than Bhaktavatsala. Lord Shiva is reminding Lord Nrsingadev, please, Prahlad is standing here before you. You're raging like it's the end of the universe. I know about that rage. I'm Lord Shiva. I'm the expert in cosmic annihilation. But you're almost surpassing that rage that's necessary at the time of annihilating the universe. Please look at Prahlad. He's standing by your side, fully surrendered. In this whole Nrsinga Leela, Prahlad is the only one who's not fearful. And he's got the most to fear. This is the irony. When his father is threatening, how dare you defy me, I'll kill you. Prahlad is fearless. In fact, he starts innocently preaching to his father. You're talking about enemies. The only real enemies are the uncontrolled senses. And of course, as you know, this makes Hiranyakashipu even more angry. How dare you speak of transcendental knowledge and the Supreme Personality of God in my presence? Prahlad was not afraid of Hiranyakashipu, nor was he afraid of Lord Nrsingadev. But that same Lord Nrsingadev, as Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, Bal Gopal, is afraid of Mother Yashoda's stick. So the devotees meditate on this point. She showed him her stick. That's why he was running away. He had never seen his mother with a stick in her hand before. When she finally caught him, he's shaking, making his pearl necklaces shake, sobbing, breathing heavily. He's putting on a complete theatrical performance to get Mother Yashoda to put the stick down. And she's telling him, look, you're afraid of my stick? Then don't steal butter anymore. Don't break pots anymore. Don't do mischief with your friends. If you want me to put my stick down, then you agree to that. And Krishna is saying, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. Just put the stick down. Krishna is totally focused to get his mother to put the stick down. And she has her stick in the hand for a reason. She's never going to hit Krishna with the stick, but she knows just the limit to approach. And indeed, that limit was nearing, and Mother Yashoda is calculating, I don't want my child to grow up psychologically damaged. I don't want him to become too afraid. So she put the stick down. She's the master of child psychology. But don't forget, Krishna is the master of childhood temper tantrums. He was angry. This is a different kind of anger than Nrsingadev. Lord Shiva is referring to the cosmic annihilation. But what about the sweetest anger of Damodar Leela, the sweetest anger of Bal Gopal? We can never get to the end of meditating on this. We were discussing during the GBC meetings at Ujjain in class how Damodar Leela began so innocently. There was mischief as a background to it. Mother Yashoda was concerned. Krishna keeps breaking into houses stealing milk products. I will make personally milk products. I won't even have my maidservants do it. I will get milk from special cows that eat special grasses. I'll solve the problem of my little Krishna breaking into people's houses. I'll solve the mischief problem myself personally. So she's early in the morning during this month of Kartik. She's churning yogurt into butter. Krishna decides to get up, and he's hungry. Although he's self-satisfied, and the Om Purnam, he's Aptakama, all his desires are fulfilled self-sufficiently. Still, he wants his mother's love. So while she's churning, he approaches her and grabs the churning rod. And Mother Yashoda is so appreciative of the cleverness of her child. How, although he's just a little boy, he knows to grab the churning rod and stop her to indicate, I want to be fed. So everything is proceeding nicely. She has picked Krishna up. He's on her lap. She's looking into his infinitely beautiful face while feeding him. But then, although milk is flowing from her breast, milk is also on the stove boiling over. Here we come to the very crucial junction. What should she do? She decided to put Krishna down just for a few seconds to rescue the milk. She knew Krishna doesn't understand yet the great opulence of milk. Milk meant for him. I have to protect the milk that's meant for Krishna. This is the real wealth of Vrindavan. So she put Krishna down. Innocently, you could understand that. And she went to the stove. One detail is, why didn't she keep Krishna held to her while she went to the stove? But the acharyas point out, she wanted to move quickly. She wanted to hurry up and get back to Krishna. She had her plan. I put him down for a few seconds. I raced to the stove, fixed the boiling milk, and then come back to Krishna. But in that short time that she was gone, Krishna became angry. This is a different kind of anger than Lord Nrsingadev's anger. Lord Nrsingadev is so angry that the demigods finally can find no other solution than to push Prahlad forward. Lord Brahma tells Prahlad, Prahlad, it's on you. You're the one, you're the reason why Nrsingadev has appeared. Will you please step forward and do something about this anger? But Krishna, as Bal Gopal, his anger is different. It's the sweetest. Just see little Krishna with his swollen lips because he's bit them. He's so angry he's bit his own lip. His eyes are full of anger. So much of the description of Lord Nrsingadev is about fearful eyes, eyes like blazing fire, fearsome face. The anger in Damodar Leela is different. Krishna feels left alone. Krishna feels unsatisfied. I didn't finish drinking milk, and now not only she stopped feeding me, but she's left me alone. Therefore, he decides to be proactive. he's going to do something to demonstrate that he has been unsatisfied and abandoned. He gets a small stone and he breaks the pot of the churning apparatus. There's the stick that's in the churning pot, and there is the pot itself. He very expertly gets a small stone and puts a hole in the pot part of the device so that the partially churned butter leaks out. He does this very quietly and then leaves the room and goes to do even more mischief by finding butter held in pots hanging from the ceiling. He's dealing with all that. Meanwhile, Mother Yashoda returns. After just a short time, you have to appreciate, she's not neglected her child. Everything is for Krishna in her house. Everything in her life is for Krishna. Lord Brahma points this out in the 14th chapter of the 10th canto. Lord Brahma is wondering, Krishna, how are you going to properly deal with the Brijbasis? They have sacrificed everything for you. Homes, families, bodies, their life energies. Everything is 100% for you, yet you have given yourself to whom? You've given yourself to Putana and her family members, her horrible family. Bakasura. Who's the other one? Agasura. You've given yourself to these people. What will you have left for the Brijbasis? The Acharyas point out that Krishna responds, I already knew that they're going to give everything to me. Therefore, I've given myself. I've given myself to them. But Damodar Leela goes even beyond that. It goes even beyond Krishna giving himself. It's to the point of Krishna being controlled by his devotees' love. So we've discussed the anger of Lord Nrsingadev, unprecedented. Yet, although Nrsingadev is one of the three most complete forms of the Lord, Pada Avasta is Rupa Goswami's term, still nothing compares with Swayam Bhagavan Krishna and those special childhood pastimes which are meant to send a message. This is what we're singing every evening in Damodarastik. Tadyeshi Tageshu Bhaktarji Tattvam. If you're at all attached to knowledge of Krishna's opulence and majesty, think about this. Offer your obeisances millions and millions of times to the reality that Mother Yashoda never thought Krishna is God and always thought he needs her protection, and therefore she bound him. Not exactly with the rope, as we sing. She bound him with pure love. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments by senior Vaishnavas?
Questions, comments?
Just one comment, Maharaj, you can elaborate on. Krishna always gives us free will. And the example is that when Jaya and Vijaya were cursed by the four Kumaras, Krishna gave Jaya and Vijaya the choice to take 7 lifetimes as his devotees or 3 lifetimes as demons. So if you comment on that, that'd be great.
I think you already said it. And Baladev Vijayabhushan, for those who like to get into the fine print, explains that Jaya and Vijay, they wanted to see this Lord of killing demons. They couldn't see that in Vaikuntha. So it's not that they were driven out of Vaikuntha by something other than their own desire. Yes.
And nice you have compared the love of Mother Yashoda, anger of Krishna and materialism. Mother, my question is how we can purify our desire up to the topmost level of which Krishna wants.
He's asking how we can purify our desire to the topmost level that Krishna wants. I think we sing that every morning, and it's especially significant as we have celebrated Srila Prabhupada's 40th disappearance festival. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Kodiya Aikya Ana Kodiyo Maniyash. My only aspiration, my only desire is to hear the words from your lotus mouth and be attached to them. We can constantly meditate on this point. That's my only desire. I don't have any other desire. Ana Kodiyo Maniyash. Is it that simple? That my whole life should be focused on the words from someone's mouth? What about me? What about my individuality? What about my program, my plans? This is something we always have to deal with. What is my relationship to the parampara? Am I the servant, or am I still trying to be the master? Therefore, these festivals help us to clarify our constitutional position. Yes, we are eternally the servant of Krishna, but these festivals help us to consolidate our understanding that we are Srila Prabhupada's assistants. And we cannot fathom the gratitude that Srila Prabhupada showers on us through disciplic succession for our becoming his willing assistants. What other value do we have? If we think there's value in material progress and that human society has advanced, just take a look at the reality. We won't become bewildered in that way if we always cherish as our heart, our deepest treasure, the reality that our only desire is attachment to the words coming from his lotus mouth. Our only desire is to carry out the desires of parampara, especially as given to us by our founder Acharya. What about me? Where's the scope for me? Our life is very short. We can arrange to have a life of greatest consequence by being the insignificant servants of Srila Prabhupada's desire. Therefore, we constantly pray, how can I know what I'm doing is what Krishna wants? Particularly, is this what Krishna's representative wants? How can I assist through parampara Srila Prabhupada's desires? If we always retain that modus operandi, some or other things in our life will turn out okay, in spite of all the ups and downs and bewildering situations that are a normal part of this world. Anything else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for your wonderful class.
Maharaj, my question is relating to Jagai and Madhai. You were mentioning that the Krishna Leela, Kamsa and Shishupal were liberated, and they were quite keen on witnessing for themselves the demon killing aspect. So how did they come back after being liberated as Jagai and Madhai? Was that just a little bonus for them?
That's a good way to put it. Chaitanya Leela is the bonus Leela. Of course, Lord Chaitanya also can take up the mood of Nrsingadev. It happened in the house of Srivas Thakur. Srivas Thakur was celebrating the Shraddha ceremony for his father, in which the 1,000 names of Vishnu are being read. And so Lord Chaitanya came to visit him amidst all that. So when Srivas Thakur got to the name Nrsimha, that ecstasy of Nrsimha Bhava took over Lord Nrsingadev. He grabbed a club and raced through the streets of Navadvip looking for atheists to kill. People just fled in every direction. Lord Nrsingadev, Lord Chaitanya as Lord Nrsingadev, got a grip on himself, so to speak, and going back to Srivas Thakur's house, he said, it's an offense to cause people to be afraid of you. It seemed like Lord Chaitanya was regretting, but Srivas Thakur told him, there's no need for you to regret anything. Anyone who chanted your name is completely purified. In fact, anyone who saw you in this Nrsimha Bhava, they're completely freed from material existence. So even in Lord Chaitanya, you see that the bhava, the existential state of Nrsingadev can erupt. Still, Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and Lord Chaitanya is also Swayam Bhagavan. He is not an avatar of Krishna. He is the original form of the personality of Godhead, coexisting with Krishna as Swayam Bhagavan. Whoever has the microphone.
It's like we see the Hiranyakashipu's character, that Hiranyakashipu's character, he was fighting Prahlad, and then immediately Prahlad glorified Vishnu, he immediately threw Prahlad out of the land. So this extreme behavior is extreme behavior because of material desire. The extreme behavior and emotions, are they because of the material desire or demonic nature? And if yes, then how it can be rectified?
How can what?
How can that extreme behavior be rectified?
Don't you find the behavior of human beings today extreme? Or as long as they have IT, everything is fine. Yes, they have IT, but they have heaps of nuclear weapons, over 16,000 of them. Okay, it's the military. It's necessary in any society to have a military. We take all this for granted. We take the environmental destruction for granted. Put chemicals in the air, put it in the ground, put it in the water. It'll work out. We're living amidst the greatest danger of planetary disaster. But yet, because we see opportunity for fulfilling material desires, it's all right. Human beings will figure out some solution. That's why, amidst explaining about Nrsingadev and Hiranyakashipu, Srila Prabhupada writes at length in one purport that what you think is advancement can be finished off in 1 second. Oh, is this some kind of doomsday talk meant to inspire us to surrender more? No, this is the reality. But we're so attached to material desire, we don't see the reality. Just like Hiranyakashipu never thought Nrsimhadev was going to appear from the pillar. He struck the pillar in anger to demonstrate there's no one there. He had no doubts there's no one there. Therefore, it was the greatest shock of all shocks when he heard that sound cracking the whole universe. What is this? There's no one in the pillar? What's happening in the universe? He was so attached in his control of the whole universe. How can something happen that's outside of my control? So besides our condemnation of Hiranyakashipu, we also have to look at ourselves and this false sense of security and innocence that we have about material desires, both individually and socially. So that's why Srila Prabhupada is warning us not to just play the doomsday advocate role to make you surrender more. You got to understand how bad society is. That'll make you a better devotee. Now he's pointing out the natural consequence of material desire. And that takes us time to realize. We grant ourselves a sense of immunity. Gratification, okay. Individually, socially, these things go on. That's the way society is. So therefore, it takes intense reading of Bhagavatam to put these two so-called singularities together as one. Remember, over here you have material desire, over here you have havoc and destruction. To see it all as one package takes Bhagavatam training. To see that the environmental havoc, to see that the threat of nuclear havoc is all caused by material desire takes Bhagavatam training. Therefore, what other solution is there for humanity than to be educated in Bhagavad Dharma? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.